I went to jerk the door open, and Bob had reached through and grabbed her. So I let go. We just both reached through and grabbed her. She had long blonde hair. We both grabbed 2 handfuls of hair, and we just yanked her right out the window. And I remember looking back as we're yanking out the window, and all I see of the driver, the main bad guy, is the bottom of his boots flying out the window. Because they'd done the same thing on the other side. And that's all you can see is that he was flying straight out the windows. They yanked him out. We was able to save him and everything. It was pretty cool. I remember afterwards feeling first time in my career, like, that was cool. We saved somebody's life.
Okay, can you introduce yourself for me, please?
Rod Gates, currently the owner of Aegis Gun Care here in Nampa, Idaho.
Okay. Before we start talking about Aegis, let's talk about your law enforcement career. I have not spoken with anybody that served in Wyoming at all. So tell me how you end up with the Wyoming PD, Sheridan, Wyoming PD.
Yeah. It's kind of a long story. I mean, I guess I always grew up having a deep respect for law enforcement because my uncle was with the Denver PD for like 28 years, and I respected and looked up to him so much. And also, I decided, for a long time, I always wanted to be a cop when I was a kid. 2 things I wanted to be as a...
From what age do you think?
Probably 6, 7 years old. Ever since my uncle. He was my uncle, and I didn't get to see him a lot when I was a kid, but every time I got to see him, he'll probably never see this, will swell his head, but it was just like, he was like this huge, larger than life image to me as a kid.
Yeah.
Because he was a Denver police officer. And to me, in a small town in northwestern Colorado, that was pretty cool. That was my uncle.
So from the very beginning, from 6, 7 years old, did you, I mean, you always wanted to be a cop? Was there ever a time, like in high school, did you go, do this instead?
There was a time I went through that I decided I wanted to be a gangster. You know, I was going to be one of the tough guys, and then, well, cops are horrible. They suck. I went through that too. Really? Yeah. And then realized it wasn't for me.
Okay.
Trying to be a tough guy and trying to be a criminal didn't work well for me. For a couple of reasons. I always got caught, and as soon as I got caught, I ran my mouth and confessed to everything. So when I was young, if we were going to do something stupid, you didn't want me with you. Because if we got caught, I was rat. That's all. It's just how things work.
So where did you grow up then?
Craig, Colorado.
So Colorado, how did you end up in Wyoming then?
I had ended up out in Colorado, was there till I was like sophomore in high school. Mm-hmm. So living with my mom. My mom decided to move to Wyoming with a gentleman that ended up being my stepdad. I didn't want to go to Wyoming, to be honest with you, at 16 years old. The exact words I think my mom said is, I don't want to go to that hick state. Which I turned out many years later. I was totally wrong. I should have went there. But anyway, so I went out to California with my dad. Okay. 16-year-old kid from northwestern Colorado. Your 2 choices are go to BFE, Wyoming, or go to San Diego, California. That was an easy decision. Okay. So I ended up for a couple of years and then was doing nothing. Got kicked out of high school for being just a shithead, you know.
Let me ask you this, because some people say this, because when I've talked to people that have, basically divorced parents, some people go with mom and there's no structure whatsoever and their life goes to hell. But you were with dad, you still getting kicked out. Do you think that would have been different if you would have gone with your mom?
No, I absolutely think so.
Why?
I would have had a lot more structure with my mom and my stepdad.
Oh, really?
And that might have been the reason I went with my dad.
Okay.
My dad possibly drank too much and possibly smoked marijuana and did stuff. And so as a kid, I didn't have a lot of rules.
Okay.
So it was kind of funner at that time to be, but that ended up when I was 18, going to Wyoming.
When things start going sideways though in San Diego, what do you think prevents you from really getting in trouble?
I actually, myself and my upbringing, so I was brought up, to be honest, to do the right things. Mm-hmm. And it was just, all my friends were doing stupid stuff and I was doing stupid stuff with them. Mm-hmm. And life wasn't going anywhere. And my mom and stepdad had heard from, I don't know if my brother or somebody. And my stepdad is a superintendent of a construction company in Wyoming. Okay. So they got a hold of me and it was like, you need to get out of there, for yourself in serious trouble. My mom also, because my brother told her I was addicted to crack cocaine, which wasn't true. But so she was talking about this crack cocaine problem. I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never done crack cocaine. I don't even know what you're talking about. But anyway, so he offered me a job
Okay.
to come work as a laborer for him in a construction.
Besides your stepdad, what did your mom and dad do?
And you gotta understand, my mom and dad were divorced from when I was like 2.
Okay.
So it'd been a long time.
Yeah, but what did they do? I mean, even growing up, after they were divorced.
My mom was, for the most time, housewife, mother.
Okay.
And had worked at like a drugstore in Colorado, worked at a bank, did some other odd jobs.
Okay. What did your dad do?
My real dad was like in the parts business for many years.
Okay.
Working for parts stores and doing stuff like that.
Growing up, was there any emphasis on schooling, education?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A lot.
All right.
And I didn't perform so well at that.
Just lazy? Didn't want to do it? No interest?
No interest. Lazy. I don't know if it's lazy or maybe and I'm not trying to say that I'm a smart guy, but it might be with my son who's now 35. When he was young, he wouldn't, what would he say, interject himself, wouldn't into school. He daydreamed a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, as he went on, his teachers ever started realizing it wasn't that he was dumb. He was just really, and he's super intelligent, and it was just boring to him.
Yeah.
And I look back at the guy that could have been that with me too. I would rather watch the birds out the window.
Yeah.
And daydream at that.
Yeah. So 18, you end up in Wyoming. Is there any sense, you get a job as a construction company, is there any sense that you're going to go to college or college is not in your future?
I thought about college a time or two, but it was also probably too structured for me.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons I was glad. When I got kicked out of high school, I was actually happy for it. I was like, because I was sick of that. It was all this structure. You had to do all this. And I'm not trying to bag on my dad because he's deceased now, but I wasn't used to structure. Mm-hmm. There wasn't, from the time, especially when I was like 16 through 18, there wasn't much structure in my life at all. I did what I wanted. I came and went. I had a job. I worked like at Little Caesars Pizza, and I made a few bucks and did what I wanted to do. Yeah. So it was... Okay. It was it was a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah. Because I learned to take care of myself a lot earlier. But I also did stuff I probably shouldn't have done. Luckily, I never got caught and got in any serious trouble. So.
Okay, so you end up in Wyoming at 18 years old. You start working on a construction site. What are you doing?
Started as a laborer at first.
Okay.
Just doing whatever, the crap that nobody wanted to do. And plus, I think my stepdad was trying to make me grow up. Mm-hmm. So even though he was the big boss in charge of everything I did the most crappiest stuff. The most horrible thing that nobody else would do, I had to do.
It's probably good learning.
No, it was in the hindsight, it was very good that he did that because it finally started giving me some structure. Yeah. And realizing that you can't be a smart mouth little punk all your life and that there's repercussions, Yeah. So
at what point do you decide, hey, I'm going to go work for the PD then?
Well, I worked road construction for quite a few years, went up to being an operator, ran track hose, started getting pretty good at what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Was somewhat of a fill-in foreman once in a while, and then got married and had a kid, and then worked at a bentonite plant in Wyoming. And then that thought of being a cop started creeping back. And when I started straightening out my life and not being a turd head anymore, that thought of being a cop came back again. I'm like, okay, I want to do this.
How old are you then?
22.
So you're still pretty young.
Yeah, 22. I'm married. I have one kid.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
Broke. Don't have any money. Still liking a party.
Okay, so what's the process like for the PD? You don't have much of a background at that point.
No, I actually have zero background. I found, because of my ex-wife's father who worked at the Wyoming boys school in Wyoming, he was a mechanic or fix-it guy there, handyman. He got me to go get my GED there. Okay. For free. The boys school people said, hey, since he worked there, they said, hey, come in, we'll let you take the GED. Yeah. And I went in and, absolutely aced it. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was that tough, but that was pretty simple. But anyway, got my GED, then decided I wanted to be a cop. I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. So I remember talking to my uncle who was a cop in Denver, and he was still on the department down there. And he's like, well, just find a department you want to do and go find out when they're testing. They'll do testing if they're hiring a lot every once in a while. So he kind of told me. So I looked around and I loved Sheridan, Wyoming. I thought I'd want to live in Sheridan because it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous place. I thought, well, I want to be there. So I go ahead, I find out, I look up, I thought, oh, wow, here in like 2 months, they're testing. Send my name in. I get told, yeah, here it is. Come on, you can come test. Sent my stuff in, which I'm thinking, there's no way in hell they're going to let me. I was surprised they even let me test. I did, because I think I have a GED. I was kicked out of high school. I'm a laborer. I'm not a laborer, but anyway. So I went over there, I tested. I tell people, because I was just telling somebody this the other night. I remember walking into there at that time in Wyoming. Sheridan, Wyoming is like the best place to get a job as a police officer. Everybody wanted to work there.
Why?
It's just a good department, and being in that part of Wyoming, it's beautiful.
Okay.
It's just a gorgeous place to be.
Okay.
That and Casper and I think Cheyenne were like the top places to be a cop. So I go in there, first time I ever tested. I didn't know anything about this. They had it at Sheridan College. I walk in. There's like 200 applicants in there for like 6 or 7 positions.
What year is this?
1993.
1993. So 200 applicants. Okay.
Yeah, there was a bunch. And they hadn't, it was such a good department. They didn't really, their turnover was really low. Mm-hmm. And they had a bunch of guys in the same year, within a year and a half, all retired. So they had like 6 or 7 openings at one time.
Yeah.
So they were hiring a bunch of people.
Wow.
And so I go in, and I what I tell people is my ex-wife dropped me off. She was going to do shopping all day in Sheridan because we lived 90 miles away over the mountain. I walked inside and I saw all those people, and I heard people right away talking about, well, I have a master's degree in this. I have a bachelor's degree in this. I turned around and was going to leave. I started to leave. I thought, I'm out of my league here. All the reason I stayed is she was already gone. She drove off. So I just said, well, hell with it, I'll stay. I'll take this test.
Yeah.
Well, I took the test. And after you took it, it was like a 3-hour test. It was a long test. Well, for a lot of it took me like an hour and 40 minutes. And I sat there like, it's taking you people so long. Then I started thinking, oh man, this is probably more to this than I thought. I'm an idiot. So I acted like I was still doing the test. Well, it gets all done. They take all the tests up and they say, well, we'll grade them. And then we'll put a list on the board by your social security number to those of you who passed. So I went around, I talked to a few guys, and talking to these guys, I realized there's this circuit that these same guys all meet each other testing all around the department, around the state. They're moving around. I'm like, okay, because they all know each other.
Yeah.
Oh, how'd you do in Rock Springs? How'd you do in Evanston? And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, my name's on the list that I was like 50 or 60 people is all that passed it.
Wow.
Something like that. It was a lower number than I thought. Mm-hmm. I remember being shocked that that's it.
Yeah.
That's all the people that passed that.
Yeah.
The math was like 7 times 4 and stuff. And I mean, I'm not a math genius, but I was like, this is pretty simple. And so anyway, got that. Then they called me back to do, then you had to go, it was all done like in 2 days.
Yeah.
Then you did the physical fitness and stuff like that. By the time, and you started in groups of 4 actually. After that, and there's all these things. And by the physical fitness was one of the last things, the PT test. There's only 2 of us left out of our foursome. So anyway, I go and do it. Meet with the sheriff and the police or the chief and the police commission. Do that interview. Go back home. Then they hire like 4 people, and then there's a change in administration. A new chief is brought in. So everything's like in limbo for like several months. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting a job. And then finally one day they called, said, hey, there's going to be a background interviewer coming to visit you the next day or 2, pick a time, because you're on the list to be hired.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, okay. When they come and did the background, then a couple weeks later I was told, yeah, you've been hired. You know, if you want the job, it's yours. So, but
I'm just going to put this real quick.
No, which was interesting. It was an interesting thing, you know, and it was... But it's funny, I was just telling somebody the other day about that, you know, I almost left. If my ex would have still been waiting there, wouldn't have drove off, I would have left. Because never been that intimidated by anything in my life, but I was extremely intimidated by all those people. Yeah. With talking about all these degrees they had. And I'm not a high school, but I got kicked out of high school and I have a GED. I'm thinking, God, I'm way out of my league.
So how old are you when you get hired then?
23, I think.
Okay.
something like that.
So tell me how the academy works. Is there one major academy for the whole state of Wyoming? How does it work?
Yeah, I don't know what they do now in Wyoming, but then in 93,
Uh-huh.
there's the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy in Douglas, Wyoming.
Okay.
Every department in the state has to go to it, or did at that time. I don't know how they, I don't know if they do it like they do here now, where you can have your own academies.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that, but at that time, everybody had to go to the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy.
And how old are you at this
I think
point?
I'm 23.
23 now.
I think that's right in there somewhere.
How's the academy? Is it militaristic?
No,
No.
it's actually not. Thank God. Because I wouldn't have lasted very long. Because I see some of these stress academies later I'd heard about. I'm like, oh, I'd have been washed out in one day. They'd have kicked my clown ass out and get out of here.
So how was the academy for you at 23 then?
It was Academy of Wyoming Law Enforcement. It was a beautiful place. It was actually at that time, that academy, I think, was known as one of the best academies as far as the facility and everything in the western states. It was beautiful. Great place to be. Dorm rooms. You stayed in these really nice dorms right there in the place. You could leave at night. We used to go down and have drinks and beer right down the street at the Holiday Inn, have dinner if we didn't want to eat there. We'd go down and have a couple beers at that. You could walk down the road to the Holiday Inn. So you could go anywhere you want. Huh. I do remember when we first got there, that first day, they said, well, this is an open academy. They told you a couple bars you shouldn't go to. One of them's a biker bar. What do you think the first place we all went? Told us we shouldn't go there, so. Anyway.
So tell me how it is when you get hired or when you start, you get out of the academy. How long does the academy last?
I think it was 10 or 11 weeks at that time.
So 10 or 11, you're out. First of all, how big is the Sheridan, Wyoming PD?
I think at that time there was 30 officers.
Okay. Is it big enough that when you get out, you have an FTO?
Oh, yeah. We had it's what they'd be called the San Jose model. It was a very strict, regimented, official FTO program.
Okay.
It was 16 weeks. You do 4 weeks with your first FTO, then 4 weeks with another one, then 4 weeks another one, and then you do the last 2 weeks with your first FTO comes back with you, and they're just in plain clothes at that point. They're not allowed to step in and help you with anything unless you're going to get yourself killed or get the city sued. Mostly get the city sued. That was their number one job. And it was kind of weird. Even though they were sitting in the car with you, if they were doing their job right, because I became an FTO later, if you had a question, you couldn't ask them. You had to call your sergeant, like you would in normal, by yourself. They would just sit there, and if they were doing their job right, would just, don't know, sorry.
What's your biggest surprise when you start? As a 23-year-old, no prior law enforcement, no prior military, what's your biggest surprise?
Oh, God. I don't know. That's a good question. I think the shocking thing was, though, for me, was like, wow, they let me do this stuff. I get to do this, but I don't know any shock or any surprise.
How about this? Are you scared at all?
Oh, God. Many times. All through my career, I did a lot of times when I started doing SWAT. So there's a lot of times I was scared to death. No, there's a lot of times I was pretty scared, but I think I was more scared of failing than of getting hurt. I think that drove me more. The thought of failing was just horrible. There was no way I could fail. It's like I put so much into this and told everybody I was going to be a cop and all this stuff, and if I failed, it would have been the most horrible thing in the world. So that wasn't an option. But that probably scared me more.
When you look back on your career, is there any advice you'd give yourself as a 23-year-old? I mean, you've done a lot of stuff at this point. Is there anything that you would have maybe done differently, prepared for, any advice that you would have given yourself at that point?
I don't know, maybe just biggest thing I think I'd do is just shut up. It would probably be the biggest thing.
Just shut up and watch.
Yeah, learn more. Open your eyes and your ears and shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Because it took me a while to learn that I was not a big shot.
Yeah.
I was, as we had some of the officers at that time, we had what'd they call you? You weren't a rookie when you started. You were a cretin, I think was the word, for the first year. Then you became a rookie. You had to work to that. So you were lower than pond scum when you first started there.
Yeah.
And you were expected to shut your mouth, don't say anything, don't talk to anybody unless you're spoke to. It was kind of that.
Huh.
because it was still the old school mentality, and it changed within a few years, maybe there to where some of the FTOs behind me that I FTO'd were allowed to speak and have more of an opinion. Because you weren't allowed to have an opinion, and none of the old guys wanted to hear it. They just wanted no part of it.
How long were you with Sheridan PD?
9 years.
Okay. So in that time, you're in patrol, you go to detectives, you're in bike patrol, you're narcotics and SWAT. When you start off, is there a goal of what you want to do?
Not really. Oh, to be honest, put bad guys in jail.
Okay.
That was my goal.
Okay.
I just wanted to put bad guys in jail.
Okay.
I wanted to drive fast, shoot guns, and put bad guys in jail. And I got to do all that. So I was in heaven for a long time.
Was one of those assignments, did you enjoy it more than the other?
Yeah, probably. I thoroughly enjoyed being a detective. But I think when we started a SWAT team, and I had been a SWAT team, I enjoyed that a lot.
Why?
I think it was just because there's a lot more shooting, a lot more fun stuff, and there's a hell of a lot less paperwork. Because we trained, I mean, it wasn't a full-time SWAT team. We still had our day jobs, but we'd go out and train for 8 hours every month, and we didn't get a lot of call-outs because we were small. We were just a small podunk department. But
yeah, so I was going to ask you, so if you're making it, what kind of calls were you getting on the SWAT team when they found you?
we didn't get called out much, but it was usually some drunk barricaded in his house that got a fight with his old lady and didn't want to come out, was making threats.
Yeah.
And usually didn't have guns. They said they did, but didn't. You know.
What's the population of Sheridan at that time?
20-some thousand maybe.
Okay, so
when I first started, 20, 25 maybe. Okay. It's a small town.
Is there one crime that you're dealing with more than another in Sheridan at that time?
Like any town, mainly drugs.
Okay.
Drugs was a big thing there. Like, I think every town has a drug problem, whether people want to, well, you understand. Yeah. Whether people want to admit it or not.
Right.
They have a drug problem.
Right. Right.
So.
Tell me about the first case that you ever felt like you were doing something.
First case where I felt that I did something was, God, it was in the mid-90s. We got a call of the Buffalo, Wyoming Police Department, Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol was in pursuit of a truck and a fifth wheel camper trailer heading towards us on the interstate in Sheridan. And there was a kidnapped couple in the camper trailer. Were tied up in the back. They had kidnapped them, and he was an escaped convict out of Texas. This couple they remember their last names, the Rockneys. They'd stopped at a rest stop between Sheridan, Wyoming, and Gillette, Wyoming. These idiots were there in a car they stole from Texas. They kidnapped them, tied them to chairs, put them in the camper, and took off. They stopped at Buffalo, Wyoming to the Pizza Hut to get pizza and left the old couple tied up. Well, she gets undone from her chair. She's still handcuffed or tied up behind her back. And these are retired 70-year-old people. You know, they're retired. And as they start leaving the Pizza Hut, she's able to stand up, get to the door, it's unlocked, and with her handcuffs, she bells out like 20 miles an hour to save her husband.
Yeah.
I mean, what an amazing thing. She just bells out. Like breaks her hip and stuff, but is able to alert the officials and cops that this has happened. They're headed that way. So we get in it as it comes into Sheridan. I was telling you before, I remember going up to I'd asked for permission to go help because I wanted to, and they were asking for help, but we hadn't. We were supposed to stay in the city. And I'm sitting right on the on-ramp right in the city just waiting. Come on, please, please. Finally, my sergeant gets on and says, we have any officers? Any officers are close, go help. I'm like, yep, I'm there. So I jump on the interstate and get right in a pursuit. And we chased them down the road. We road spiked them 6-7 times. Going down, finally, they had that big camera trailer. We tried to go around them or something, trying to run us off the road. After a while, we had like 7 cars behind it, 8, maybe 10, 3, 4, 5 agencies. I think Game and Fish was even involved in it. Mm-hmm. And finally, the guy decided for some reason, whatever, all the tires have been blown out, road spiked. He decided to go through the median and try to go up the other side. I think he was going to go to oncoming traffic. But with all the blown out tires, and that big camper trailer, he one big ones. Fifth wheels, he got down to the bottom and just got stuck. So we all converged in on it. And the truck, I just remember running up to the truck, and he still got his foot on the gas pedal, just jumping, and it can't go anywhere. And there was a scene I'll remember for the rest of my life. I remember me and a sheriff's deputy ran up to the passenger side. I was a city officer. I went to jerk the door open, and Bob had reached through and grabbed her. So I let go. We just both reached through and grabbed her. She had long blonde hair. We both grabbed 2 handfuls of hair, and we just yanked her right out the window. And I remember looking back as we're yanking out the window, and all I see of the driver, the main bad guy, is the bottom of his boots flying out the window. Because they'd done the same thing on the other side. And that's all you can see is that he was flying straight out the windows. They yanked him out. And we was able to save him and everything. It was pretty cool. I remember afterwards feeling first time in my career, like, that was cool. We saved somebody's life.
Why did they kidnap the older people? Do you know?
They needed another vehicle. Theirs had broke down.
Why not just take the vehicle instead of?
Well, they had a plan. They wrote, I guess, apparently, because I wasn't involved in the rest of the investigation. Mm-hmm. Wyoming DCI, Division of Criminal Investigation, came in. Mm-hmm. They did it, but I was told later that she had been writing a diary. She had wrote in the diary that once they got up into Montana and off into the hills, they were going to kill him.
Wow.
They were going to kill the old.
Well, that's a jump. That's really a jump from stealing a vehicle to you're going to kill these two.
Yeah, so it was like, that was the first time it was something that I felt good about. It was like, dang. I mean, I felt good about a lot of stuff, but that was really like, that was cool. We did something. And they were going to make a movie about it. I know it was in Reader's Digest. It was in a lot of, it was kind of a cool thing.
Wow.
And you talk about people too real quick. The other thing that sticks with me is I remember after we yanked him out, then I turned and ran to the camper trailer. Because as we pulled her to the ground, I'm being on the rims and the things, a fire had started in the median. There's a grass fire now around the camper trailer. So a couple troopers have gotten their fire extinguisher shot. They're trying to put that out. Me and another trooper ran back, opened the door to go get him. And he's laying in the living room part of this big fifth wheel. He's laying on his side. He's got blood coming off his head where he fell over in the chair during the pursuit. And I remember as we're grabbing him and I pulled my knife out to start cutting the tape, I remember he looks at us, he goes, "Please tell me that none of you fine young men got hurt trying to save this old guy." That was his first thought. Wow. And I was like, that's cool as hell.
Yeah.
We got him out. And
wow.
Good, and they went to prison for the rest of their lives.
Huh.
But, yeah.
So, Rod, you stay at the PD for 8 or 9 years, and then you go to Cassia County Sheriff's Office in Idaho. Why do you leave?
Honestly, for arrogance and stupidity. Okay. I should have stayed at Sheridan. I was going through a tough time in a marriage. I thought a change of scenery would save the marriage, which it's a stupid move. Don't ever do that. Doesn't fix anything. You have the same problems, but in a different location.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought that would help. And I was having a battle with a lieutenant that we never got along. And I kind of I work at feuding where I'll show you. So yeah. It kind of stupid on my part.
How do you end up in Idaho, though, as opposed to somewhere else in Wyoming?
Well, the funny part about it is that certain lieutenant, they put a teletype had come out about they were looking for detectives, straight to detectives. Lateral, you didn't have to go to patrol. He circled it and threw it on my desk to be a smartass. So I'm like, okay. I got a hold of him and they invited me out for an interview. It's like, that works.
Did you know anything about Idaho before moving over there?
No. I didn't know anything about Idaho. All I knew was everybody said it was a beautiful place, a great place to live. I knew that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Before I ask you about Cassia County, kind of the wife situation there, right? Was that trouble with the wife, with the marital stuff, was it law enforcement related?
That had a little bit to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I would be lying if I said it didn't.
Well,
that's because things didn't go well. So we were young, had a couple kids now, and
sure,
we probably should never got married in the first place. I don't know. Anyway, so I didn't have to be home a lot. I worked a lot. I mean, any chance we had DUI enforcement grants, we had speed enforcement grants from the government that we could work extra time, and I worked as much extra for a reason. I mean, for money, and
yeah,
it was good to be away from home.
Yeah. Okay, so you end up in Cassia County. You go from Sheridan, which is about 20,000 people. How big is Cassia County? What is the area?
It's probably the whole counties, because I know it's the sheriff's department there. The whole county-wide, they're about the same population.
Okay.
So it's pretty much the same. And they were good people. The sheriff, there was a super nice guy. Mm-hmm. Treated me very well. I liked him, except for he called me Rob for the first 6 months. So the joke became that my name, instead of Rod Gates, it was Rob New Guy. So, because the sheriff would call me Rob for like 6 months. Jim was a great dude. I liked him. A lot of people didn't like him, just thought he was an old airhead or whatever, but he was a nice guy, a good guy.
Yeah.
Really good guy.
So you transfer right into detectives there. What kind of cases are you working on?
Just general detective.
Okay.
Anything that we get called out for got transferred to, which is also different for me there. I worked at detectives in Sheridan, and I don't want to act like we were elite, but we were a little more specialized. There was kind of a framework of cases that could be sent to detectives.
Okay.
Not just anything.
Okay.
And here it seemed like there'd be misdemeanor cases sent to detectives. If an old person died in their home as an unintended death, detectives had to go investigate it. And in Wyoming, we didn't do that. An unintended death, patrol handled all that, unless they got there and something was out of ordinary. Then we would get called.
Let me ask you this. Between Sheridan and Cassia County, you're a detective. Were there specialized units? Like, for example, did you guys have a homicide unit? Okay.
We did everything.
In both places?
In both places.
Okay.
You did everything. In Sheridan, we only had 3 detectives.
Okay.
We had a sergeant and 2 detectives. And Mark, who was the other detective with me in there, even though we weren't assigned stuff, Mark didn't like to get called out, didn't like to work. He liked to work property, check cases, that kind of, which we had a lot of. So between he and I, we kind of unofficially, officially had this deal. I would do all violent crime, all property crimes, drug crimes, and then he did everything else.
Okay.
And it worked between him and I. It wasn't a department deal. Actually, I had a lieutenant, didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
But it worked well for him and I.
When you're working at either one of those departments, do you ever work a murder?
I've never worked a murder as my case, no.
Okay.
I assisted on 2. So that was something I never got.
I'm just wondering how that is on a homicide investigation where you're in a small department, either Sheridan or Cassia County. Nobody has a whole bunch of experience.
Well, that's where the Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation, most small departments in Wyoming, if they have a big major case like that, the state steps in.
Got it.
Like you have here the state detectives.
Yes.
For the ISP, but they're not ISP detectives. They're their own.
Right.
They have their own director.
Right.
It's the state DCI is what's called Division of Criminal Investigation.
Okay.
Those guys, and they have regional teams. They did then.
Yeah.
Like 4 or 5 regional teams that every department in that agency in that area assigns a department officer to them. And then there's full-time DCI guys too. So they usually on major cases, they either come in and take over if the department wants that, or they come in and assist the department.
That's good to know because I didn't know anything about it.
And it seemed to work pretty good.
Yeah.
It really did. I mean, because they wouldn't just come in and they couldn't just come in and take a case away.
Yeah.
But they would come in, and a lot of smaller departments, they have big homicides. They would just hand the case over to DCI.
Got it.
It's like, this is yours. Tell us what you need from us.
Okay.
And we did that on a few things. But
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So tell me about this was apparently a big deal. I didn't, you were kind of filling me in, but tell me about the Bowcut case. What was that all about?
yeah, Peter Bowcut was his name. He was a guy from Burley, Idaho that had a youth online modeling company called Paul Jones Photography. And I'd never heard of it, but a lot of people had. And one day I got a referral from the Minidoka County Sheriff's Office. Had called over and told the sheriff that they had a case that was referred to them from California, but the pictures they had sent were all in Burley. So they said, well, this needs to go to Burley. So we got a hold of the sheriff, and the sheriff assigned it, asked me if I would take it. I'm like, sure. It sounds like fun. Let's do this. So it ended up being, once I got into it, got a hold of guys, it was out of Clovis, California. I don't remember the guys' names, but there was 2 detectives out of Clovis, California that were absolutely top-notch. These guys were awesome. They helped me so much.
Yeah.
I'd have probably sunk if it wasn't for them. They were because I'd never worked internet sex crime case like that. Especially that this ended up being an international case. Started actually over in, I don't know, the Bulgaria or somewhere over there's where it started. And it came over to the U.S., was tracked back here, and our guy here, and there was like 4 major guys in the U.S., and the guy in Burley, Idaho was one of the major guys involved in it.
Sex trafficking? What was it?
No, just pornographic images.
Huh.
You know, they would, I don't mean to be rude, but some of them, like this guy, they would molest their own children and other children in video and photograph it. They were sharing it amongst each other. And so got involved in that, and that blew up to a huge case really fast. I mean, real fast. It's like, oh my God, this is big.
Yeah, because you're working with customs as well.
Yeah, U.S. Customs took the lead on it. And it was actually, they had a name, it was called Operation Hamlet. The actual first name was, when I first started, the name, and the Center for Missing Exploited Children was big in it. NECMEC was huge in it too. And I remember when I first got involved in it, we started dealing with customs, the name of the actual case was Operation Sierra Foxtrot. If you do phonetics, the S and the F, sick, F-U, that's what it meant. Somebody in U.S. Customs said, no, we can't do that, obviously. So it got changed to Operation Hamlet, somewhere along the line.
Wow.
And yeah, it grew to a huge case. I mean, it was massive, the amount of people involved and some of the technology that I had no clue about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So you're working in up until this point, you're working in 2 small departments. You start working with customs, feds, everything else. Is it an eye-opener going, holy crap, this is...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was... But that's the cool thing about law enforcement. It is a brotherhood, and people do want to help you. There was, and I feel bad, I don't remember his name. There was at that time, this would have been 2004, 2005. Idaho is just, I think, starting their internet, their ICAC unit.
Yeah.
And there was a guy named Wookie.
Okay.
That was his nickname. Big dude that kind of did it. And I got a hold of them, and they came over and did a lot of help. And I feel bad not remembering his name because he was the nicest guy and such a helpful guy.
Yeah.
And he had like a 3-man team, I think. So they came on, they did a lot of help. You know, so thank God they were there to help. And no, it got big. It was, I think there was, God, a couple hundred children around the world saved, 30, 40 people put in prison.
Wow.
And luckily, the state of Idaho, one thing I can guarantee I like about the state of Idaho, the last I heard before I left and closed our part of it and went to narcotics was that still our sentence of our guy in Idaho was one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Because we first sentenced him with 40 L&L. And in Idaho, L&L, lewd and lascivious acts, carries potential of a life sentence. And then through plea bargains, he pled to like 8 or 10 of them.
Yeah, so for the audience, if you're watching, things are still illegal here in Idaho. If you're going to do something, you're going to go to jail, and I appreciate that.
It's one thing I loved about Wyoming, too. Wyoming's one of the few states that when you get life without parole, it's really a life without parole. Yeah. There's no going back later and the time outlets. It's right. You get it, and you're done. And Idaho's that way too, which I appreciated. They had that. It was, I think he was 27 when we sentenced him, and he's not eligible for parole, I think, till he's 73.
Good for him.
Before he's even eligible.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, some politician doesn't go bleeding heart. They figure some way to get him out, but I hope not. But no, that was a fun case. It was another one that I just felt it was rewarding. Yeah, going through this. And the subject matter was horrible.
How do you deal with that? Because you gotta look at that stuff, right?
I've heard people before. I remember I heard people watch the detective shows. You see these detectives. You have to compartmentalize. Yeah, bullshit. No, they're right. You do. You have to learn how to compartmentalize that it's, and also get it in your head. That's not everybody. You start thinking, that guy is my daughter. Cause I had a daughter, 7, 8-year-old daughter at the time. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I didn't want her to go. She was not going to go spend the night at anybody's house since I thought everybody's parent was that. You get bad. And then your kids pay for it. Yeah. Because you're a paranoid freak. But no, it was an interesting case. It was satisfying. How when we got him sentenced it was pretty awesome. I was like, cool, good for you. See ya. Goodbye. Like I said, it was interesting, fun times too. There's a few times. I remember after we got him sentenced, we got sued. The prosecutor over at Al Barris over in Cassia County called me down to his office. I was working narcotics now, and showed me that lawsuit that they had sued us. And I was named in the lawsuit because we violated his constitutional rights by searching his jail cell. Yeah, whatever. But they had sued me personally on that for $100,000. And I told Al, I said, that's ridiculous. I said, when I screw up, I'm worth more than $100,000. That's an insult. So anyway, it had the thing, and I remember telling Al, I said, let me respond to it. I'll respond to this. And he's like, God, I don't know what to ask, but what? I said, it's real easy. I'm going to go over the copy machine. I'll put my finger down like that. We're sending that back to him. He's like, let me handle this.
But you know what? This is a prime example. I have a clip on the channel talking about qualified immunity. It's a prime example of that. Because without that, they're suing everybody.
Yeah, that's not to get too far off in the weeds, but I agree. I hear these people yelling qualified immunity's got to go. Cops can do anything they want. And I'm like, you guys don't understand what you're talking about. Right. That's not what qualified immunity's for. It's like for this right here.
Yeah.
Because Al was like, this lawsuit didn't go anywhere. It's not, they didn't even respond to it.
Yeah.
Because we're not even responding to it. We're going to file it away, and it just died out.
Yeah.
You know, because, qualified immunity, it's important to have that.
Yeah.
To let people go do their jobs. Because if you don't have qualified immunity, who's really going to go out and take a risk and do their job?
Exactly.
Nobody's going to.
Right. Because in this,
and why would you?
Yeah, because in this litigious society, you get sued left and right.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks about that.
I hear these people, cops could kill people, and that's not how that works.
Right.
You can't just go out and execute people, and you have qualified immunity.
Right.
But that is a good point. No, that was a fun case. It was still, I think, now without a doubt, it was the best case I ever did in my life. You know, that I had the most pride in. I thought we did good. You know.
Why do you end up working narcotics then from that case?
Because I wanted to. It just seemed like a lot of fun.
Okay.
It was just a little more less structured. Maybe that was why the less structured part. Because me and my partner, they started a task force over there. We were the only two task force officers full time. Mm-hmm. And we kind of just did what we want.
Yeah. We
ran our own hours. We worked when we wanted and did whatever we wanted. It was fun. We were just... And at that time, Burley and Rupert, at that time, Idaho, this is in the early 2000s, Idaho was had one of the worst meth problems of the nation.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what you did, you know. And Caldwell was like the worst in Idaho.
Right.
Well, Burley Rupert was like number 2.
Right.
We had a lot of drugs going through there. So it was like shooting fish in a barrel.
Where were most of your drugs coming up from the dairies?
Well, from Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it was from the immigrants that come up, but 99% were great people. Mm-hmm. They just want to work. They just want to do their job.
Yeah.
But some of their kids
brought
some bad habits from their friends in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they were able to do that. And that was the problem. It was, we got accused of being racists because all we were arresting was Mexican nationals and stuff. And they're the ones controlling the drug trade.
Right.
I mean, understand it.
Especially in that area.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, the white kids were the dumb junkies.
Right.
Not being mean, it's just how it was. So 99% of our arrests were Hispanic individuals.
Yeah. Okay, so how long are you at Cassia?
Oh, not very long. 3 years.
I mean, it seems like you're having a good time. Seems like you're having success.
Oh.
Why do you go back to Wyoming then?
My kids.
Okay.
My ex-wife had moved back to Sheridan, Wyoming.
Okay.
To that area. And I had seen my kids one time in a year.
Oof.
And I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I need to see them more. So my buddy Dave Hoffmar was the sheriff over there. We were friends. He was a sergeant with the sheriff's department when I started with the police department. Mm-hmm. And not that we were tight friends, but we got to be friends. I remember I called him up but no, I hadn't called him. I had said something to that I was still talking to an officer back there that I was interested in coming back to Wyoming. And I remember we were doing a search warrant in Rupert, Idaho. We just kicked the door open, had everybody down, and my phone rings. And it says Sheridan County Sheriff's Office or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it says, we're done. Like, I answer the phone. It's a guy that I used to work with, the police department, is now the sheriff's department. And his name is Rick. He goes, hey, little birdie tells us you're interested in coming back. I said, dude, I'm busy right now. Let me call you back. So I did. And he was like, Dave wants you to come back and go to work for us. Mm. Then I'd be in the same... I'd be 80 miles away from my kids.
All right.
So,
but closer. Hell of a lot closer.
Yeah, and then I met a new person, who's now my wife. We've been together for 22 years, but had just met her. And we started dating. I remember telling her, I said, hey, I'm going back to Wyoming. I'm going to be close to my kids. I would love for you to go with me, but you don't know how hard feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, let's go. So it worked out. That worked out. Yeah. Also, I was trying to get a job with customs at the time because of the Bowcut case. I enjoyed what I saw at U.S. Customs. They seemed to do a good job. Well, they did an excellent job. Their investigators were incredibly good at what they did.
Yeah.
And all the resources they had was cool.
Yeah.
Kind of like being DEA, you have. And I thought, well, working for the feds would be cool. But the only federal job I could get, law enforcement, was customs because everybody else, you had to have a college degree.
Really? Customs didn't have to have a college
degree.
Huh.
So I applied, did a couple interviews, things was going well. Some of the agents I'd worked with on that were kind of put in good words for me.
Yeah.
And I remember I had the last final interview like in Denver. I was supposed to go to. And then I decided to move to Wyoming and do this and had the new relationship. And I'm like, so I just called, told them, I said, I'm done. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
But so I gave that up and went to work there.
When you're at the sheriff's office in Sheridan, are you laterally transferring right over to a detective or are you going back to patrol?
They didn't have detectives.
Oh, they didn't?
And I didn't want to be a detective anymore.
Why not?
And I told Dave that when I talked to him. So I drove out there and had a meeting with him and Rick, the one sergeant. Because I just wanted to take time to go back and be a patrol cop.
Okay.
Not have cases that are lingering for months. To go out and write speeding tickets and arrest DUIs and go to bar fights again sounded like fun again. I was like, okay, I want to go do this for a while.
So you're going back to your roots.
So yeah, well then I get back there and as I'm there for a couple months, Rick comes up to me and goes, hey, Sheriff, we need to talk to you. And one of my good friends was the undersheriff. And he goes, we need to talk to you about something. So I go in and there had been since I had been gone, critical incidents happened that the sheriff's department was reliant on other agencies to come help them because they didn't have their own tactical team or any training. The sheriff decided he wanted one. So I get pulled in and they're like, hey, we want to start this tactical team and we want you to lead it. Why do you want me to lead it? I'm a nobody. I don't have that. And they said, well, if everybody in the department, you have the most tactical training because I was a team leader with the city on that SWAT team. And I'd been to some tactical leadership schools, been to a lot of tactical schools. He says, so you're going to start a tactical team for us. I'm like, God, I just want to be a cop. I just want to be a road cop. But I did it, Yeah. And we started a team and things went fairly well with it. And did that for a couple of years there and then left.
Okay. So now let's get into what you're doing and why you left. And I got a whole bunch of questions for you. So you start with PD and Sheridan. You go to Cassia County Sheriff's Office. You go to Sheridan.
Back to the sheriff's office. Yeah.
So essentially, you're 93 to 2006. You're with 3 agencies. You're doing a law enforcement career. Why do you decide that's it for me? I'm not doing law enforcement anymore.
Money.
Okay.
Absolutely money. 13 years in law enforcement. The most I ever made was $41,000 a year. And coal bed methane in Wyoming at that time was just booming. It was going crazy, especially in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Okay.
And I had a lot of friends that worked in the energy industry, oil and gas, coal bed methane. And they kept bugging me, you should come to work for us. You should come to work for us. Come to work for us. I'm like, yeah. So I just we'd have poker nights. Someone would come over there. Like, you need to work for it. I put up this for a lot of months. I'm just like, no, can't do this. Well, finally, one day I'm mowing my lawn. A guy named Rob, I know, that was with a company called Pro Field Services, oil and gas company, calls me. He goes, what are you doing? I said, mowing my lawn. He goes, the boss from this company that he works for wants to talk to you today, right now. They're serious. And I said, whatever. I'm so not interested. I have my white tennis shoes that are stained green from mowing the lawn. I'm in shorts and I'm in a t-shirt and a hat. It's like, that's how I go down for the interview. Because I'm not really interested. I don't care. Right. So I just I just turn down there. And I'm sitting there talking to him and he ends up being a cool dude. We got along so good and became friends. It was kind of funny. We're sitting there talking. He goes, well, we need people. We need people with some leadership qualities and you have them. You have some of the qualities we could use being law enforcement, the whole SWAT thing. Anyway, the detective, he goes, I don't know. And I think it's kind of funny, like in a movie, he writes a figure down up here, slides across the table to me. And I'm like, really? This is what we're doing. And I remember looking at one. Yeah, that's okay. Went inside, I'm like, holy shit. It's like a $25,000 a year pay raise for what I'm currently making. Mm-hmm. Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Damn. I said, let me think about it for a while. So I go talk to my wife, and I think about it for a few days. And they're calling me, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know yet. And I remember going one night, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I'm shift supervisor. And I remember I go to the sheriff's house, and I knock on the door. And I want to talk to Dave someday. I haven't talked to him in years to get his perspective how that went. But I remember knocking on his door and him coming to the door. It's at dark. That his shift supervisor now is at his door. I'm sure he thought something bad had happened within the department. Yeah. So I'm like, no, it is. So I go and I remember telling him, I've been offered this job. I tell him what they're offering me. I don't know if I'm going to take it. He says something to the effect of, that's a great deal. You'd be an idiot not to take it. If you don't take it, I'm going to fire you, kind of deal. Which made it easy. Yeah. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I said, well, then I guess this is my 2-week notice. Yeah. He was so cool about it. He's like, dude, that's a hell of an opportunity. Yeah. Don't be dumb.
Super nice of him.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. Even though I'm the SWAT commander and everything else, like, just go.
10 years, what do you do for them?
For oil and gas?
Yeah.
Started as a pumper, the very lowest. Again, I thought, I'll be a pumper, which is the lowest in the oil and gas. Mm-hmm. You're just maintaining the wells, making sure they're running. Mm-hmm. You are the lowest guy out there. And that was fun. I enjoyed it. No responsibility. And I used to tell people, when you're with a department like you did and everything, or even small, big, whatever, and then you're in something like SWAT or whatever you're doing, when something bad goes on in a city or a county, there's a list of people that get called out. Yeah. The fact that I was no longer on any of those lists was very appealing to me. I wasn't on that list anymore. Okay. My phone wasn't going to ring because some idiot was holding a kid hostage. So yeah, in a certain way, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
So you worked for 10 years for him. What do you end up? What's the final job that you're with?
Like I said, I wanted to be the low guy. Well, I started doing like I do. Sometimes I end up being an overachiever. And I don't like how people are doing things, so I run my mouth. Mm-hmm. Well, we should be doing this. Well, I come back to bite me, and they said, well, if you think you're so good at it, you're in charge. Yeah. So I kept getting promoted up. Yeah. And I guess, I don't know the old term, get promoted to your highest level in competency. Well, I did that. So, but no, I keep getting promoted up. Again, running my mouth one day. I walk into the office, and it's like 40 below zero in Sheridan, Wyoming, coming from the field. And at that time, I was like a field manager, field foreman, whatever they called it. And I was to the receptionist, Mandy. I said, I've had enough of this shit. I am done. I'm not doing another winter here. And about that time, the vice president walks around the corner and hears me. He goes, really? Get in my office. So I walk in there. He sat down and he goes, okay, smartass, you want out of this? And the company wasn't doing well financially. Mm-hmm. It was just not doing well at that time. And he goes, you want out of this? He goes, we're starting a new operations down in Texas and Louisiana. A lot of things. A lot of people quit when the company was going bad. I stayed. He goes, I kind of owe you a favor for sticking around. He goes, so I'm going to repay it. You can go down there and be the ops manager. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So they fly me down like a week later for 2 days, 3 days to go check and see if I want to move down there. Mm-hmm. So of course I do. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. Everybody tells you can't go. The company's going bankrupt in 2 months. You're going to be down there without a job. You're an idiot. Don't do it. Like, whatever. I'd rather be unemployed down there. If I'm going to be in the oil and gas industry, being unemployed down there might be better than in Sheridan, Wyoming. Sure. So my wife and I pack up and quit our jobs, everything, and we moved to Louisiana, to Bossier City, Louisiana, and then got promoted again up to the headquarters in Houston. And so then after 10 years, I took over operations for Texas. Then for the Bowcut up in North Dakota and Montana, ran that office. And for 10 years, then you ended up, like I said, for $41,000, I was making over $130,000 a year with bonuses. Yeah. So, life was good. Yeah. I played golf a lot. I played golf with clients. That was part of my job. It was fun.
Did you ever regret or miss law enforcement?
Oh, to this day on certain things, yeah, absolutely miss. I still, when I'll be on the street and Nampa or Boise PD guard goes flying by and I pull over the lights and sirens, yeah, I miss it. Then I'm like, yeah, that'd be fun again. Yeah. But then I wrote, John and I were talking yesterday, but then you remember all the BS paperwork and red tape that goes with it. And you're like, okay, never mind. Yeah, that thought's gone. I don't want to do that.
Okay, so let's talk about your business now. What is it, and how did you start this?
Business, what we do now is we are in the gun cleaning industry. We make gun cleaning. We have our own proprietary lube, solvent, and grease. We make gun cleaning kits, stuff like that, and very high quality products. I mean, our lubricant's the best on the market, hands down.
Why is that?
Just because it's not your standard everyday lube that everybody's had for years. There's a little bit of thought process and science went into it. It's a man-made synthetic, so it's heavier than water. You put almost anything on the market today, pour it in the water, it floats on top because oil floats on water. Ours will sink to the bottom because we have a higher specific gravity than water. So therefore, we're going to protect your gun better. We've got some what's called, we have tungsten. A couple of years ago, we added an additive, tungsten disulfide, that gives us an extremely low coefficient of friction. I'm not saying we're the lowest in the industry, but I haven't found one yet that has got a lower coefficient of friction of us as ours. And of course, gun people understand less friction, less heat, less metal wear. Guns run faster. Your slides will run faster when you have less friction. Less resistance.
How did you get into this though? Was it because of law enforcement?
I was in the oil and gas industry. I had left the Pearl company, had got bought out, went out of bankruptcy, became Epic. I got promoted up anyway. And then that company sold and I was in North Dakota. The new company up there wanted me to stay on and move up there, but I didn't get along with one of their VPs and I didn't want to live in North Dakota because I couldn't travel back and forth. I'd been for the 6-7 months, I'd been commuting from Houston and back every 3 weeks. Had a good life.
Yeah.
I was flying first class. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Well, then the company sold. And I didn't want to stay up there with that company. Definitely wasn't moving to North Dakota. So, but he got me a job with another oil and gas company out at San Antonio. I was there for a few months. That company sold to a new company. Downturn started. I was the newest guy in the company with a high salary. So one day I showed up to work. They're like, yeah, well, we're laying you off. I'm like, okay. So luckily my wife, being smart she is, while I was making such good money, she had been piling money away in savings, which was cool.
Yeah.
So I got done with that and decided I want to do my own business. Funny, my wife still teases me. The first thing I looked at was budget blinds, getting a franchise with budget blinds.
Really?
And my wife's like, you know what? She goes, I don't see you going into some old lady's house and telling her the difference between tan and taupe. She goes, I don't see this happening. So I found a company that was called the Gun Cleaners. They did ultrasonic gun cleaning. They sold franchises. You buy a franchise, basically a gun store, but the basis is ultrasonically cleaning guns.
Okay.
Seemed like a cool idea, but I thought, who the hell has somebody else clean their guns? If I get into it, I realize a lot of people. It's actually a good business. Getting that, we are open to do the franchise. We're doing okay at it, but there's a lot of promise. Of course, me and a couple of the other franchisees didn't like how the guys started it or were running it. Well, one day, one of the other franchisees called me and said, hey, the Gun Cleaners is for sale. Me and my brother-in-law are going to buy it. Do you want in on it? Sure, why not? So I bought into that and we ended up owning it. And we made a lot of changes. Things went south with the partnership. So I left the company, walked away from it, moved back to Idaho, which is a funny story. My wife one day goes, hey, I want to go, because she got laid off in the oil and gas industry. She was in that too. So both of us, we were making good money. We were doing well. Spending a lot of money, having a lot of fun, traveling and playing golf. And she gets laid off because of COVID. So one day I come home and she goes, I want to move back home, because she's a native of Idaho.
Okay.
So I moved back home. I said, okay. When? She goes, right away. So me being me, I go, that's fine. I'm busy. You take care of everything. We can go whenever you do it. You get the house. You do everything. Like 2-3 weeks later, the house is sold. The Ryder trucks are ready to go.
Of course.
And I'm like, well, we have a trailer behind my truck. We have an extra Ryder truck. I'm like, how are we doing this? She goes, oh, my brother-in-law and sister are flying down from Boise, and they're going to drive on them back. So there we go. I get up here, and then I have no job. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
So we decided to start a new company, doing the same thing we were doing before with the same products, because I still had legal right to those products.
Okay.
And it's one thing I retained, and they couldn't stop me. So I started Aegis Gun Care at that time, where we weren't cleaning guns for people anymore. I didn't want to touch other people's guns because I turned in my FFL. I no longer had that.
So how do you make the transition from cleaning guns to lube for guns?
Well, we had those products were from that company.
Okay.
That's where they came from.
Okay.
So since I had the right to use them,
Okay.
I then just took those products, started my own company with just me and my wife now as my partner, and took the lube, got a hold of the chemist that actually makes it and everything, made it for them. He and I got together and we took the lube and we reformulated it and made it better, a lot better. And then started the company, and then we introduced a grease. He and I put together and made a grease that's phenomenal, did really good. And decided I didn't want to have an FFL. I don't want to touch other people's guns anymore, but I just want to make gun cleaning products. So about 4 years ago, we started Aegis and just selling products and doing, then we made gun cleaning kits. There's several variations of that. And things went along and we're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's the market's tough right now with everything, especially in the gun world.
Yeah.
But
you're running it out of your house.
Yeah, I run it. I work out of my house. Our shop's there. I bottle and label everything myself. I fill the grease bottles, the lube, the solvent. I do everything myself. It's kind of fun.
What's funny about this is I was at a gun show in Nampa, and I actually bought your product. And this is before, you and I both we just met each other, right? And I bought the product. I love it. It's great. And by the way, audience, this isn't a paid promotion. I find it very, very interesting. People who go off, start their own business, and especially like law enforcement background, military background. There's a lot of people here in Idaho, and I'm going to try and feature as many as I can. So,
it's funny when you talk things that shock you about law enforcement. Thing that I realized afterwards, when I realized what was happening, that it made sense. But I thought when I started Aegis, I'm going to get in with law enforcement. That's going to be one of my big things.
Yeah.
SWAT teams all these departments could use good products.
Right.
Nobody wanted to talk to me.
Really?
In law enforcement, because I'm no longer a cop. And then I started thinking back. I remember when I was a cop, all these guys that used to be cops, they were always coming to talk to you. And I remember shrugging them off because it's like, what do you want from me? Do you just want to be my friend because I'm a cop? And I remember that. So, and it took me a while to realize. And my wife's like, why aren't? And I said, well, and I told her why. I said, I think that has a lot to do with it. And it is true. And so it's been slow getting into law enforcement, getting into those. I mean, luckily, Nampa PD reached out to me. One of their guys personally used our products, and he happens to be their firearms guy.
Well, there you go.
And he loved our products personally, so then he brought us into where now we're the official products in Nampa PD. That's all they use.
That is very interesting, though. I have not really thought about that. I would think that you, with your background, it'd be a little bit easier for you to...
You would think so, but it's not really. And like I said, I do remember when I was a cop, somebody always tried to sell you a product. And a lot of times it was, well, I used to be a cop. I was a cop for there and there. And I used to push that really hard. Well, I was one of you, and anymore I kind of don't. I don't lead with that anymore.
Yeah.
I try to talk about our products and go there because I think most people don't care that you're a cop. They just don't.
That's interesting. Especially in the gun world. You'd think that would make a difference. But it doesn't.
I think to some people as cops it does, but there's a lot of they don't care. And that's not being mean. I get it.
Yeah.
I remember being, I tell you, when I first started being a cop, my uncle, who was a cop for Denver PD for 28 years, was a detective down there, shot in the line of duty down there, had a really good career. I remember when I became a cop, he told me something that I told him I thought was BS. He goes, understand something, once you become a cop, your only friends are going to be cops. And I thought, that's BS. Then I was in law enforcement, I realized that's true. Either people don't want to be your friend because you're a cop, or I found myself not warming up to people that weren't law enforcement because I thought, what are they trying to do? Why do they want to be my friend? Because I'm the local cop down the street and they want to tell their buddies, well, I'm friends with the cop down the street. And so it ended up being that way.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny. The whole thing's weird. And then once I was no longer a cop, a lot of the guys, except for the few that we were close, most of the guys I worked with never talked to them again. They didn't reach out. They didn't. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
okay, audience. So it's aegisguncare.com. AEGISGUN care.com if you're interested. They sell cleaner, lubricants, field cleaning kits. Tell me about, by the time we release or I release this episode, you're going to have a new product out. What is it?
Yes. Me and a buddy of mine, we're probably a new partner in Aegis right here soon. We've developed I say we, but he's done a lot of the work. He's a smart guy. We've developed a suppressor cleaning system.
Okay.
Because I was down at Boise Black Rifle here in Boise, and they were like, oh, we got to find a better way to do suppressors. And there's a lot of companies now, they make these little tubes you combine, you pour in their solvent, you drop your suppressor and let it soak for anywhere from 20 to 40 hours.
Okay.
And then you brush it out. They work okay. They really do. They work okay. But Boise Black Rifle, Will down there was like, can you do one of these with your product? Because your product's better than these other ones. I've tested it. So we started playing with it. I'm ordering tubes and all this stuff. I'm trying to look at it, ordering stuff, and I'm testing stuff out. Well, I start talking to my buddy Mike in Houston. And his wife's she's Houston PD, 34 years. She's been there with him. So we're talking, and he and I are talking about this. And he goes, well, no, why don't we do this? You could do that. And he goes, then we started to develop. We'll just introduce air. We'll blow air through it. That didn't work. That was a complete failure. We had a couple other ideas. This like 7-8 months ago. I mean, our first few ideas were just total trash, just complete failures. That didn't work. Then we come up with the system we have now. We made a contained system to basically drop your thing in a thing, and there's a cleaning head patent. We have a patent pending on it now, which was cool. We got that granted. Hopefully get our patent within the next year. But anyway, you drop it over and it blows out high pressure solvent from the inside into the inside of the suppressor and cleans it out.
Okay.
So we did a couple prototypes. Finally got a production model now. We've got 5 of them just as promos now.
Okay.
And played with them. Have cleaned a few suppressors. Again, I'm going to give a plug if you don't mind, at Boise Black Rifle. They were awesome. They opened up their shop to me to go in there with all their dirty suppressors. Plus, they were getting clean suppressors, what they care.
Yeah.
But anyway, but let me use their facilities for test and evaluation, which was invaluable. Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
They're like, that's cool, dude. This works. So we're taking what was taking 20 to 24 hours to clean a suppressor. Well, we've been doing it in about 40, 45 minutes.
Wow, that's interesting. Let me ask you this. Well, you've developed this program, but you had your previous job was the ultrasonic cleaning.
Yeah.
I'm just talking out loud because I'm totally curious. Do you ever think about just dropping a suppressor in an ultrasonic with your product?
We used to do that.
Oh, you did?
I cleaned a lot of suppressors when I had the ultrasonic business.
Okay.
And we charged people like $100, $110 to clean their suppressors.
Right.
Charged them so much, because first charged like 40 or 50 bucks, and I realized cleaning suppressors sucked and I didn't want to do it. So I think if I charge 100, nobody will. Dang, they were still paying me money to do it. So anyway, but the ultrasonic machines we were using that did a good job, they're like $8,000 a piece.
Okay, so it's a price thing.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're extremely good. So we started to I cleaned a bunch, and I want to do ultrasonics. I want to do a small ultrasonic tank with that kind of power.
Yeah.
There's nothing on the market like it. So the ultrasonic power company out of Illinois that we use their tanks, I think I'm still dealer of their tanks. I got to know the owners. Well, new people had bought it and everything. Got to know them. I called one of the owners and I was talking to him. I said, hey, can we do... Here's my ideas, what we're trying to do for suppressors. Can you make a small... We don't have the technology to make one that small, that good yet. And we talked a lot. I said, okay, talked about using some of the cheap ones, and they just don't work good enough. Yeah. I'm buying from China, even some U.S. companies. They're under a couple $100. But they don't work good enough. They're just not what I want. So anyway, well, then we started doing with this, and I'm still thinking ultrasonic in the back of my head. When I start talking to some suppressor companies, there's a couple of big suppressor companies out there that in their literature says do not use ultrasonics on our products.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not sure why.
Okay.
I got somewhat of an answer. I'm not going to say because I don't know if it's true. But I got somewhat of an answer from one of them.
Interesting.
And so I thought, okay, well, that's good with me then. Yeah. So we went this route, and I will say we're cleaning suppressors better than I thought we were going to. I was kind of shocked. It was like, okay, this is going to work good.
I'll cut this out if you don't want this, but I got a question. Do you think that the product that you developed is cleaning as good as the $8,000 ultrasonic that you had been cleaning with?
In the amount of time, no.
Okay.
We can cut that out of here. No, it is not. But this is going to be a $300 to $350 product compared to an $8,000 product.
Got it.
I mean, how many people want to buy an $8,000 product?
No, totally.
To set in your house.
Yeah, $350. I'm sure there's some gun dudes out there that would be happy to spend
$350 is a good. When we've been talking to a lot of people, the price point seems guys like it.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good price. And you know, we have a lot of people said, "I'll buy one." You know. So,
yeah, and it's interesting because again, there's so many things in Idaho. Like, you know, you said Black Rifle. I know there's JK. You know, that's I've got one of their suppressors. So.
You'll be surprised. Every time I go to an industry event or something, and I find a new company in Idaho that's a fairly well-known company, I didn't know it was in Idaho.
Yeah, it's
amazing. Just here in the valley, how many gun companies, major good gun companies, are in the valley here? It's surprising.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. A lot of people don't realize it. I actually have a friend that's a podcaster, fairly big. Does all right at it, and we were talking on the phone one day, and he goes, "Tell you moved out to Idaho," and I started looking into it. He goes, "Holy cow, you guys have a lot of gun industry out there."
Oh yeah,
no, we do.
Yeah,
it's a lot here.
Yeah, for sure.
And good companies too.
Yeah,
they're good dudes.
Yeah,
most of them are really good people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got to know most of them, and they're really nice guys.
Yeah,
and gals.
So if anybody's watching this, you know, that lives here in Idaho, that runs those reach out to me. I'd love to have you on. I think it's really fascinating. People like you who take on the challenge of starting their own business, and you know, lube, suppressors, guns, whatever. They all kind of revolve around military and law enforcement, and I kind of like the thing.
And the thing is, a lot of these companies are either law enforcement or veteran owned.
Yes,
a lot of them are around here.
Yeah, or
super support that.
Yes,
like some of the gun stores around here they do business with are very much supportive of law enforcement.
Yeah,
very much.
I just every day I feel fortunate to be in Idaho. Oh,
I do too. I've told people there's only 2 states, I think, and I've lived in quite a few states. There's only 2 I'd live in. It's Wyoming and Idaho.
Yeah.
There's only 2 I think that I really want to live in anymore. I was like, when we moved up here, we haven't bought a house yet. We've been here for 4 years because the housing prices, plus I told my wife, I said, the next house we buy, it better be what we want because I'm dying in the next house we buy. I'm not moving again. I'm done. You know, I've had enough moving.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here.
Yeah.
Idaho's my home forever, and we're done. Unless the suppressor thing takes off huge, I might have a vacation home in Florida. But
good for you.
But,
okay, so let me ask you the last couple questions I always ask. By the way, audience, I'll put the website on. You know, go check it out. How did law enforcement affect your family? I'm very interested. Obviously, we talked about your first wife, but your kids. You know, you were separated a while from them and everything else. Do you think if I asked them, is there any residual effect of that?
That's a good question. When I just had them last week, they were both, my kids are 35 and 30, 34 and 30. It was good. First time in 10 years I've had them both under the same roof together. It was a good week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I imagine they would. There'd be something they would say, and I think it was probably me not being around.
Yeah.
Might be like, especially when I started working narcotics, and I was still with my first wife when that started. That was and it might be why I made so many arrests. We did so much stuff and did so many search warrants. I think it was because I'd rather be at work than be at home. Mm-hmm. So I got really into our task force, and I did a lot of work. I mean, I worked a lot.
Yeah.
You know, me and my partner, we were working a whole lot, you know.
By the time you got into your second marriage, you're still in law enforcement, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think the difference was? I mean, you know, besides personality and everything else, do you think it's a maturity? Do you think it's, hey, I know what this job entails, you're not working as much? Do you think your wife understands it? What do you think the difference is at that point?
As for the second one?
Yeah, for the second.
Well, no, I think a lot of it was maturity.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
I had matured a lot, you know. I'd learned a lot more, was a little bit older, understood things. I've been in law enforcement for a while now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, it's also, I mean, the person I was when I first got married at 22 and the person I was now in my mid 30s, mm-hmm. not the same person.
Sure.
I mean, by a long ways. You know, what I felt was important now was not what it was then. There was just a lot of things.
Okay. So with that being said, if you have a 22-year-old officer watching this, can you offer him any advice as far as family?
For his family,
Yeah.
put your family first.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Put your family first. That job is, I think I did what a lot of young cops do. Instead of being something you do, it becomes something you are.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just being, it's a job.
Right.
Instead of letting like me, it became who I was.
Right.
Is to be a cop. It was hard for me to leave law enforcement because I had become so wrapped up in it. I was so much a cop, and that's all I wanted to do. And it was hard to leave because I felt I was leaving a part of myself. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But then as I look back now, all the stuff I've done, the only thing I've ever done in my life that I felt I was really good at was being a cop. I think that was one thing I excelled at. I think I did well at it.
How long did it take you to, you still say you miss it. How long did it take you to be retired or be away from law enforcement to go, okay, there's more to life other than law enforcement?
It didn't take a long time. I would say it was at least a year,
Okay.
maybe a little more. It didn't take a long time, but
Yeah.
then I realized that, and then my wife even told me one time, my current wife, she goes, there was a difference. She was once you left law enforcement. And it wasn't sometimes it wasn't a good difference. Like, I think in business dealings, it hurt me at first because I went for so many years not trusting anybody, as being a cop.
Yeah.
I didn't trust anybody. I got to the point, I worked night shift all the time as a patrol officer. And I actually did get to where I think everybody was a shithead. You get that thought process. Didn't trust anybody. So then when I got out of law enforcement, I realized, God, over 95% of people, they're good people. They're good people out there. So I started trusting people a lot. My wife said she noticed that. She goes, you trust people a lot more, and almost too much, to where I got myself hurt in some business deals because I trusted people too much.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay.
That's interesting because, the last question I always ask is, how did law enforcement affect the way that you see people? So initially, it certainly jaded you. But as you've been away, it's kind of gone away.
But yeah, I trust people and I like people again. But also, at least I understand that underbelly of our society.
Right.
And it's there.
Right.
And that's the funny thing. My wife, who was born and raised in Burley, Idaho, till we met, she didn't realize there was a drug problem in Burley, didn't realize the crime in her own township until I was telling her about stuff. She was just blown away. She said, we don't have this kind of crime. I said, oh, God, yeah, you do. This is a lot of crime here. And a lot of people go through their life with blinders and don't realize in their own community just the problems that are there.
100%.
And then they blame the cops. So the cops are already doing something because they stirred it up. I don't know. It's just like, no, it's out there. Yeah. That's one good thing about being law enforcement is I do understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware of things now that I don't know when I was younger. I just was, who cares?
Let me ask you this, though. When you did that big case involving the pornographic material, whatever else, did that have a residual effect on you? Do you look at people now and go, maybe?
Oh, well, like I told you, I didn't want my kids going to friends' houses. No, 'cause I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way, man. You could be, your little Susie's dad might be the next Bowcut. So I'm like, okay, this isn't, you had to get over that a little bit too and not be so, to where, I don't think I did it enough I think it was more in my mind than it was to I showed to my kids.
Yeah.
Plus, and I didn't have them a lot because they were living with their mom. But when I did, I was pretty guarded about who was around them. And bad enough it's not that I didn't trust anybody, but I didn't trust anybody. Family, friends, nobody. Yeah. Just because. So there are that residual of that, that.
Yeah.
Because this guy was plied in plain sight for a lot of years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And nobody knew.
Yeah.
Or if they did know, nobody said anything. Because they didn't want to make waves or whatever, So, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. And like I said, my service law enforcement career wasn't as long as a lot.
Yeah.
But I think, I do think that the longer you're in being a law enforcement, I think from the people I know that have done careers, mm-hmm. I think it's better, it's easier.
Yeah.
Because you mature.
Yeah.
You mature and you understand more about the job and everything. And so I think it probably gets easier the longer you're in there.
Yeah.
Plus I think you probably don't care as much. I don't want to say you don't care, but your bullshit deflectors go up faster.
Yeah. Exactly.
So.
I was going to close off by thanking Rob Unknown, based on who is that? The Cassia County Sheriff? He didn't even know your name. Okay.
Rob, new guy.
Rob, new guy. Well, Rod, I really appreciate the interview. Thank you very much.
Oh, thanks for having me down. This has been great. I've enjoyed it.
Thanks.